The sand was beginning to turn damp, the white crowns of the waves lapping at the shore just becoming visible against the dark sea and sky beyond. Empty boxes of over-the-counter painkillers, along with a drained half bottle of supermarket own brand brandy, lay discarded on the sand, waiting, just like him, to be washed away by the incoming tide. "You'll burn in hell," had been the reaction from his older sister, faith burning bright in her eyes. The others, his younger brother and sister, hadn't expressed an opinion. They, however, were probably too young at the time to understand. Later, when they were older, more aware, well, a gap opened up between them. But that was as much his fault as theirs. Leaving home, just disappearing like that. He hadn't helped. Likewise, Dad hadn't said anything. Not then, when it first came out. But that look of disappointment, almost betrayal, the silences whenever they were alone, which over time became less and less frequent. That said it all. Mum, on the other hand, she probably always knew, probably knew even before he did. He recalled all the excuses she'd made when he was young. "Oh, he's sensitive, shy. Yes, he always sits like that." She'd been defending him all his life. When it did come out though, when it was confirmed, and especially the way it came out, his poor mother was at a loss. It was a neighbour, a relative of a workmate of his dad. He had started it. Apparently this neighbour had seen him in the passage at the side of the pub in the square, blatant, obvious, for the whole world to see, with another man. That, of course, had been back then, back in 1967, when he was just 18. It was at the party in the Shakespeare, the day the law changed. Not that he'd been paying any attention to all that political stuff. It had only been because of the unofficial party that he had any notion of what was happening. It was the older customers, the regulars, who gave it any significance. The only difference he noticed was the change in the law took away some of the excitement. The law may very well have changed, but people's attitudes remained the same. A shirt lifter would never be welcome. 23 years on, the first 6 of which were spent in the big city, 300 miles, and what may as well have been 300 light years away from the provincial small-mindedness of his hometown, returning only to attend his father's funeral, things had changed. He had changed, and the world around him had changed. There was still the underlying antagonism, still the disapproval, although perhaps not so palpable, but at least there appeared to be a growing understanding and, despite the Neanderthals, an increased tolerance. He had thought he would only stay for a month or 6 weeks after the funeral, enough time to see things right with his mother, to reconnect with his family. But, like most plans, life tends to take over. Not unlike most towns 6 years after the gay law, there were the embryonic stirrings of a cultural change. The city centre had openly gay bars and a club. For some of the straights, it was a curiosity, a place to be entertained by the queens. For a lot of straight women, it was a chance to enjoy the ambience of a bar or club without the testosterone-filled atmosphere of the usual meat market. The old Shakespeare, his former stomping ground, had been replaced, but there was another, more vibrant, more carefree, much more inviting bar, a semi-basement, half windows, looking down from street level. It was there, one Friday afternoon, he met him, Phil. There had been that immediate attraction, nothing more than sexual, all those old promiscuous feelings rising to the surface, making him feel like a teenager again, recapturing his youth. This, though, became something more, something different, blossoming, evolving into a full-blown love affair. Within a year, they'd moved in together, set up home. That was the beginning. Their relationship had its own rules. It knew almost no boundaries, exploring each other, exploring the newfound freedoms of a truly gay life. The end, however, came all too quickly. His diagnosis was a death sentence. There were recriminations. Who gave it to who? Both equally to blame. Both equally remorseful. There were tears. How long? Not long enough. Forever would not be long enough. Now, here he was. Sleep, fatigue, the pills, the booze, overtaking his numbed body. The waves, ice-cold embrace, washing over him, waiting for the inevitable. Staring up at the stars, the water blurring his vision, the salt stinging his eyes, drying his lips. He wondered just what hell would actually be like.